30-second board, hot topics within the sport. Let's give a quick shout out to the St. Jude Love Moto Stop Cancer campaign, which always rolls through Monster Energy Supercross, JT, but now it is aligned with the whole SMX and Pro Motocross season as well. And that includes a new limited edition American themed shirt. Might be a cool one to show off at Redbud. It'll be available right after High Point concludes. Just text the word super to 785-833 and get the shirt. And all that money for the shirt goes to a good cause.
It is a great cause, and I really had my eyes open to this, getting to travel to Memphis a little over a year ago and visiting some of these children, getting to speak to some of the doctors and scientists involved there, and you nailed it with a good cause. I don't know that there is a better one out there, so get your phone out, get your wallet out, donate, get that shirt on.
Yep, and then wear it at Redbud. Celebrate 4th of July with the Love Moto Stop Cancer American-themed shirt. And let's keep rolling here in the next topic on 30-second board. You're probably seeing the name Racing Kyler over there on the graphic and saying, who is that? Well, she is an 11-year-old girl who is very, very fast now on a 65, also pretty sporty on a 50, and she has been announced as part of Team USA for the FIM World Junior Cup. Now, this race, which some people kind of call the mini Cross the Nations, it's kind of a team race, kind of like Motocross of Nations, but for amateurs. She's not in the women's class, JT. She just got picked because she's as fast as the American boys to represent Team USA.
Yeah, this is really cool. And you think about the results she's putting in, whether it's going to be internationally or here. You know, I'm sure she's on the road to Loretta Lynn's as well. She's the real deal. So it's going to be fun to watch her progress. She's still so young, and there's going to be a lot of progression made over the next few years. She could be that next WMX superstar that we're going to be talking about for a very long time.
Yeah, shout out to our old friend Eric Sorby, who I know has been working very hard with her down in Florida to get her ready for that event. That's fun. And you mentioned WMX. Well, the spotlight was on. I'd even say, JT, a little pressure was on. So with the rain Friday at Thunder Valley, their moto was moved to Saturday, which meant we got to air it live. And I'm sure there were a lot of people that were A, excited, but B, saying, well, what kind of action are we really going to see here? And boy, did they bring it.
They did, and you know, I think with the way the track was and the conditions, the rains we had, and you're thinking about this is at the end of the day, after 4 motos of Pro Motocross, how is this going to go for these women trying to ride on this track? They haven't been out there all day, right? The track had completely changed since they saw it, and you want to talk about stepping up to the plate. This was some of the best racing of the day. The battle between first and second, which was Lala Turner and Charlie Cannon, and then the race between Stallings and Nielsen for third and fourth. I don't know that we saw closer battling than that. And then the end of the race, those two going down, battling for third and fourth, and Jordan Jarvis somehow finding her way onto the podium. It was the gift that kept on giving. Honestly, it was the highlight of my day. And it was, listen, this is at the end of a very long day for everyone. And to be the upside surprise that it was such a home run across the board.
So WMX, pressure was on to perform with everyone watching. They did it, so good job. All right, next topic here is Honda. So they go 1-1, 1-1 in the 2 classes. They were on the ropes a little bit, JT. There was a while we were joking with the team manager over there, Lars Lindstrom, that everything they were touching was turning to gold, starting with a Supercross title now more than 2 years ago with Chase Sexton, and then through the Lawrence brothers' domination of 250s and 450s rolling through last year. And then all of a sudden, the train was kind of off the tracks. Back on now.
It wasn't, and you say everything they touch turns to gold. Well, you could also say that they had the competition seeing red on Saturday because everywhere you looked was a Honda out front kind of doing their thing. And yes, there were challenges in the 450 class. AP was fantastic. Eli Tomac, everywhere he went, there were cheers following him around the racetrack. But at the end of the day, you look up at the results column and you see that red Honda wing out front. So there were a lot of top Honda personnel at this event, and they had to be very, very excited with what they saw on Saturday afternoon.
I think it's key to note how integrated the entire program is. The 250s and the 450s, it's one team. Some factories still work the other way with their 2 separate teams. And also how closely integrated Hymas's program is with the Lawrence's. You know this, JT. For example, I went in the Honda truck Saturday morning, and you see Michael Byrne, who is, I guess you would say he's the coach for Hymas, but it's not like he doesn't work super integrated in with the Lawrences. They all ride at the Lawrences compound in Florida. You really can't even draw a line between the Hymas program and the Lawrence program and the 250s and the 450s. They're all pulling in the same direction.
They are. And you know, Burner works individually on technique with riders like Hamaker and Hymas, where, you know, the training programs are more designed by Johnny O'Mara for the Lawrences. But as you mentioned, they're all riding together. You think about Michael Burns' integration with Team Australia for the Motocross of Nations. He's worked with Hunter going back to 2017. That's how long Michael Byrne has been around Hunter Lawrence in this capacity. So there's a lot of trust there. There's a lot of leaning on each other for advice, for insight, line selection, all those things. And for me, it's impossible to think that Hymas hasn't been dragged forward by the success of the two Lawrence brothers as well.
Yep, certainly worked there. The real question is this a one-shot performance for Hymas, or is he a legitimate threat to go 1-1 more, including this weekend at High Point? And if he does it, this will be the racetrack he's doing it on. Take us through it, JT.
Well, you know, I think High Point's one of the iconic tracks. It's gone back so far in this series, and it's very similar to layouts you could look back 20 years ago. I was looking at a photo of myself racing this track in 2005, and the track's not all that much different. I think some of the biggest change you're going to see is all the trees they've removed. So if you're going to attend this race on the weekend, you can actually see across the entire valley and watch the battles unfold, where years ago you couldn't see a whole lot. Now, as for the track in the course, it's very ruddy, as Chance Hymas mentioned, so you have to be really precise. It's not a racetrack where you can just attack it with reckless abandon. You have to be methodical. You have to think about line choice. And you're going to love this week. We have a big chance of rain on Saturday. So High Point and mud go together like, I don't know, weege and not spending money. So just watch for that. If we get heavy rains on Friday and Saturday, everything could go out the window.
Look, I know you thought I was going to be upset that early in the week you're predicting we could have a mud race. But I will say, if there's one race I'm going to carve out that is an acceptable prediction to make, it is High Point, where if it doesn't rain on Saturday race day, it's going to rain on Friday during press day. I don't know if we ever get through a weekend at High Point where there isn't any rain at all. So, yes, I will admit that there's probably a chance that weather could impact the way this track races this weekend. Let's welcome back to the Hall of Fame conversation for the AMA. Now, we had our buddies Selvaraj and Ariana on the show last week. We've mentioned Chad Reed before, a lot of other luminaries. But the voting for the AMA Hall of Fame ends on Monday the 16th at midnight. That is Monday after this High Point race. So if you're an AMA lifetime member and or you have voting power for the Hall of Fame, get your vote in before Monday or your vote will not be heard. Let's look back at these first three rounds of Pro Motocross, JT. This topic here we're calling Struggle Bus. These are riders that have maybe not performed as well as we might have expected going in. I'm going to go 250 class here. If you look at the results and the standings, to me, actually, Levi Kitchen stands out the most, but he had a bad round one. He had a chain come off. He actually was super fast at Thunder Valley. He's coming from way back. He might have even been similar to the Deegan Hymas pace. So I'm going to exclude Kitchen from the list because he's actually been riding well. I'm surprised with Tom Vial. He has had good starts. He has had consistent finishes. He's been in position to do better, though, and he simply hasn't. He's been maybe the fourth or fifth fastest guy for a two-time now Supercross champ, two-time World Motocross champ. I expect him to be at least where Hymas is and putting pressure on Deegan. He hasn't quite done it. So that's struggle bus for me in the 250s. I expect more, and maybe we'll see it at High Point. Who are you thinking for this category? Who hasn't performed as well as you would expected?
Yeah, I agree with you on Vial. You expect him to be a title contender, and he's been anything but thus far. This, for me, is easy. It has to be Jorge Praau. I've seen the guy race in person quite a bit, and even more here in the USA on their broadcast channels. This guy's the real deal, and we're not seeing it. When I watch him race, which we followed him around, especially in qualifying, just kind of trying to see what's going on with him, watch his fast laps. This is not the same rider that I've watched for years now. So whether you want to put the blame on him and the injury not quite being back, the transition to a new team and a new motorcycle, a new series, new culture, new everything, it's not from my place to put the blame anywhere in particular. I'm just telling you the net result on the racetrack is nowhere near what expectations were.
Yeah, we know his capabilities, and it shouldn't be a minute behind. We know Jet and Tomac are animals, but you look at also what Hunter Lawrence Aaron Plessinger, Justin Cooper are doing, and he's not even close to them. That's definitely underperforming. Now, on the good side, let's talk about riders who have surprised in the opposite way. I'm going Garrett Marchbanks in the 250 class. He's actually third in points. We don't see or talk about Marchbanks much because he never starts up front. It's one of those, you look at the result at the end of the moto and you're like, oh, look who got fifth. Or in the case of Thunder Valley, oh, look who got third in the first moto. He actually tied Kitchen for third overall in points, but Kitchen got it with a better second moto tiebreaker. But Marchbanks, he only has a one-year deal with Pro Circuit. He is performing well to get another deal.
He looks fantastic. And, you know, when you're in a contract year and you're not a shoo-in to get another contract, you have to perform. It's the ultimate put up or shut up moment. And Garrett Marchbanks he's putting up. Like, this is exactly what you would want to see from him if you're Mitch Payton. And you know that he has a lot of supporters, guys like Phil Nicoletti. There's a lot of people trying to guide him in the right direction, get him on a pathway back to where I would say Daytona 2020, when he went out there and won the 250 main event. That's what they're trying to get him back to. I think he's on his way. You know, he's a big guy, he's heavy, so that's a disadvantage on the starts. But the riding, the pure form of riding, he's doing the thing. So congrats to Garrett there. I'm going to go with the 450 guy. I'm going to go with Aaron Plessinger because there was so much talk about this championship. You look at the step forward that Hunter took last year. We knew he'd be great, but it's really been about Jet and Tomac. That was the talk coming in. And when Chase Sexton leaves, it's really those two. Not so fast because AP has inserted himself into this fight. And until the second moto last weekend, he was second in points in this championship. And he's battling for the lead. He passed Jet Lawrence this weekend. Like, if I only had 3 seconds to make my case here, I would just say he passed Jet Lawrence straight up. Drop the mic. That's really all you need. So AP has really shown up this summer.
Another thing we want to hit here is the SMX playoff schedule. Now, we're going to get deeper into the point scenarios, which are quite surprising with our statistician Clinton Fowler later in the show. But as we get so hyped on Pro Motocross every weekend, JT, let's not forget that it all leads to the playoffs. That starts September 6th at ZMAX Dragway in Concord, North Carolina. And then they're going to have a hybrid Supercross motocross track built indoors, the Dome at St. Louis. But I think the coolest part about all this is that Vegas is back on the schedule thanks to SMX. Yes, we would all love to have a Supercross at that big new stadium where the Raiders play in Vegas. I don't think they want dirt in the building. So because of SMX and the hybrid tracks, we get to go back to Vegas for a championship finale, which is as it should be.
Yeah, that finale delivered last year. I mean, what more do you want than the SMX World Championship coming down to the last lap between two brothers? Like, I don't know what more you could possibly ask for. And Tomac was in there too. Like, anything goes wrong, Tomac was working in the background to win that championship. So I think this playoff schedule has been a home run across the board. You know, we're going into year 3, and both years so far, these championships have come down to the last lap, whether it's Jet and Roxon, whether it's Deegan and Shimoda. Take your pick. These things are coming down to the wire, and I would invite everybody. Like, it doesn't take much to get people to go to Vegas anyway, but the racing has been off the charts. So it's going to be another great 3 rounds and into that finale in Vegas.
Here's how you can watch this weekend. We're back to East Coast time, so it makes it pretty easy. We don't have to do any translating here. Race day live qualifying coverage starts at 10 o'clock Eastern. That's 1 hour of coverage Saturday morning. And then the gates drop for the motos at 1 o'clock. And there'll be 4 straight hours plus halftime in between live and the live SMX Insider post-race show. So that's how you can watch High Point, all live on Peacock, or the SMX Video Pass. Go to supermotocross.tv if you're outside the United States to subscribe. JT, as for this show, we're off also because the championship gets a weekend off before Southwick, so we will not have SMX Insider next week. We'll be back the week after that to preview Southwick.
Hi folks, Lee Diffie from NBC Sports here. If you truly enjoyed what you just watched, you can get more news, interviews, and highlights by subscribing to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube page. You can get it all, so go for it.